Behind me is a photo of both sides of T.C.J, Trumbull County Jail.
My name's Patrick. Everybody calls me Packy. I did 7 years in Ohio. I got 3 kids, one on the way. I'm engaged to their mom. I do prison, true crime, paranormal, daily vlog, and reaction videos. Come check me out.
It was built in 1997 to replace the old jail that was built in 1966 that is now considered the WASP program, or at least it used to be, a work release program, a couple blocks down the road. What they did there was took the basement part where all the cell blocks are, leave the doors open, let people go to work, come home, and they just go to sleep. Like I said, that's a couple blocks. Right here is our present jail. This front area is MSJ, which is open dorms for minimum security inmates that have like the lowest misdemeanors, traffic charges, very simple things like sometimes DUIs, things of that nature. They'll put you over there. This is also where visitation is. So if you're gonna go visit your family, you would go in this front door. But in the back, they call it the tower. It's a 7-story building, even though there's only 4 floors for the inmates. The first floor is technically, I guess, the second floor because it's leveled up. It's like the booking area. But what they call the second floor is the misdemeanors that are a little bit worse, where you can't go in MSJ dorms, so you're now in a cell block. So depending on what your misdemeanor is, you would either live in an open dorm area or have your own cell. The third floor is for the females, and the fourth floor is for anyone who catches felonies. Most of them are waiting to ride to prison or facing more serious. I guess that makes sense to put people who got the most to lose all the way at the top, because there have been times people have tried to escape, which is exactly why they make the cops leave their pew-pews at the very front, lock them in a locker box before they walk in. A couple years back, they put a body scanner in, but from what everyone tells me, it doesn't work. I don't know if it does or doesn't, or if the COs just don't know how to read it. So how it works is, let's say you're on the second floor misdemeanor side, where it's pods, and you'll go in there. It's about 30 cells on the bottom and on the top, give or take 20 or 30 bottom and top, so 40 or 60, depending. I can't really remember, and it doesn't say online. They kind of wrap around, but not in a full circle, because in the middle of every block is what they call the bubble or the control room. It's a two-way blacked out glass you can't see through, and it's a circular room that has controls. They can see all the way around whatever floor they're on. You can't, because you're separated between the cell blocks, obviously. That control room runs all the way through all floors of the jail. So no matter what floor the COs are on, they have that same control room that looks identical as it goes all the way through. There's intercoms. They could talk to you through the intercom. I've seen many inmates try to talk to females in that bubble when they know it's, just a chick in there by herself, or 2 females, or a CO who they don't think is gonna say shit. They're gonna try to shoot their shot, be in their cell, hitting that button, finding the dumbest reason they can to talk to whatever female. They recently put in kiosks. I heard you could get tablets now. I think you gotta rent them out, but they, from them. That I'm not sure, because in prison they give you your own tablet. But yeah, I was there when they were putting in the kiosks in 2018. I had to go back to the county from prison because I got indicted while I was in prison. So when I rode back, it was completely different. They were doing all these new upgrades. Now, the reason why there's only allowed to be guys as trustees now is they used to have females and guys. They had it where the men were in the laundry and the females were in the kitchen, which those 2 areas are right by each other, and they're on the first floor by booking. And they were allowing them to work like that, but they weren't supposed to intermingle. And wouldn't you know, they were finding ways to slip into the laundry room, and there's these massive piles of orange clothes that everybody has to wear. And the way I was told, the same rumor that's been going around for years is when the COs went in there and figured out what was going on, there was like 3 dudes and 2 chicks in that area, ducked off in the back. They were all trying to pull their clothes up and this and that at the very last second. So yeah, they was in there assholes to elbows. That sounds crazy as fuck, but that's what I keep hearing. Numerous having an orgy. They was in there as the trustees. The moment that happened, they put a stop to it. It will never be that way again. And for whatever reason, they decided to let the men be trustees. So now females Sorry, if you ever find yourself in the Trumbull County Jail, you will never have the opportunity to be a trustee. As far as I know, there's been numerous deaths here. No, as far as I know, I don't think no one's ever been unalived. But there's been a nice amount of people who's done that to themselves. I was there one time when someone tried as a trustee. Everyone went outside to smoke a cigarette and didn't realize that he stayed behind. He actually stayed behind and he tried to do that to himself in the bathroom, but they found him like that and they cut him down. Another time I was in there, a dude did that to himself because he found out that his girl wasn't going to ride the bid with him. He was on his way to prison and he didn't make it. He did actually go. And what's crazy is he did it on a hook that are on the wall that's to like hang things on, but they're not supposed to be able to hold weight because they slide up and down. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. For whatever reason, this one was stuck and it did not do its job. It didn't slide. You know, if too much weight's on it, it'll go like this. And then you grab it, lift it back up. Well, he knew that his was glitching because he chose that part to do what he did. Or maybe he thought he would be found. I don't know. Some people do things like that for attention. That's the sad part. I guess nobody will ever know. What I started saying earlier, the way it works in here, you come in the block. They're going to give you a boat, a plastic rack that goes on the floor that you live on. And you put your stuff around you, your hygiene, your clothes folded up. The problem is everyone who's walking around, working out, or watching TV is always 10, 15 feet from you at all times because you're laying on the floor. Everyone else has a cell, but from the moment you come in, you get put on a list and it goes in order. So if someone leaves and goes home, they push one person up on the list. It usually takes about 5 to 8 days to get your own cell from the day you got there. So your first week, give or take, you're going to be living on that boat in the middle of the pod. When you finally get your own room, it's a pretty good feeling because it's kind of peaceful and they're not two-man cells, they're single-man cells. So you're in there by yourself. You could board up your window, have privacy, use the bathroom, do whatever else you feel like you want to do, and no one's going to see you. When you're in a block, you have none of that privacy. Showers are disgusting there. They have these things, they call them natter daddies. I think they're in every jail and prison. But they're them black flies that look like fruit flies, but they're like their own kind of species that you don't ever happen to see nowhere else, but they're always growing in all these drains and all these. You be taking a shower and you'll watch 4 or 5 of them just come crawling up out of the drain and fly around the room, and then they'll go right back down in there. It's disgusting. It's always an ongoing joke that you got to wear your shower shoes in the shower, whether you're in jail or prison. People always joke around and say you'll walk in there and get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Your feet will end up pregnant. Do the math on why you think they say that. I'm about to do a part 2 to this here in a minute. There was a very serious hostage situation that took place here. First, I wanted to do the introduction. There was a situation with some people. They've already been punished for it. The case is already over. You know, they've already moved on from it. So I could go ahead and go into that. And plus, it wasn't no secret. Everybody knew about this. Matter of fact, while it was going on, people were walking downtown to the jail to just be nosy and see what was going on. Where I live at is like not even 2 miles, maybe a 5-7 minute walk to the county jail. I lived right back that way, a couple blocks through the neighborhood. So I remember on the north end when people were walking down there in huge groups, but they had to blocked off. They had SWAT teams and all kinds of shit. Their next move was they was about to use a small dose of C4 explosive and blow up the thick window that's a 2-way mirror you can't see through. The COs see you, but you can't see them. They were going to blow that section up so they could run in there because, well, it's a story. I'll have to get into it. But there was an actual hostage situation. The CO who had it happen to him, he actually stayed there for a while. But a lot of the same COs work at this jail. Matter of fact, I see one of them at my job all the time, including numerous COs I was in Trumbull with. They recognize me all the time, different customers. I figured this was right up my alley. I'm going to start doing videos on all the institutions in Ohio and all the gangs in Ohio. Until the next video, stay safe, stay free, stay blessed.